You've been told fish is healthy, but what if I told you some fish could be silently damaging your brain, heart, and joints, especially after 60? Visuals: quick-cut clips of tuna steaks, swordfish sizzling in a pan, and a grocery shelf of canned fish. Cut to X-ray images of aching joints, brain scan with fading areas, and a senior woman rubbing her temple. It's true, certain fish carry high levels of mercury, inflammatory fats, and harmful chemicals that build up over time and hit harder as we age. Beat change: a concerned senior reading a nutrition label, looking confused. But don't worry, you're about to get the facts. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which 6 fish to avoid to protect your mind, your heart, and your mobility. Mini CTA prompt. And number 6, it's hiding in almost every senior's fridge. So stay with me. This could change what's on your plate forever. Welcome to Thrive Senior Advice, the place where we help you stay sharp, strong, and smiling through your best years. If you're over 60 and care about protecting your brain, heart, and joints, this video could make a real difference. Today, we're breaking down 6 types of fish you may want to avoid or limit because of hidden risks like mercury, inflammation, and nutrient imbalances that can sneak up on you as you age. Ever stop to wonder if that fish on your plate is actually helping or slowly harming you? Let's dive in and make sure your next meal supports your health, not works against it. Number 1, tilefish. Let's kick off with one of the biggest offenders, and one most people have never even heard of: tilefish. It sounds exotic, maybe even healthy, but don't let the name fool you. Asterisk: tilefish has some of the highest mercury levels of any commonly eaten fish in the US. In fact, it tops the FDA's list of fish to avoid, especially for older adults. Why does this matter after 60? Because mercury is a neurotoxin, a toxic metal that can damage your brain and nervous system. Over time, even small amounts can impair memory, slow reaction time, and throw off balance and coordination. It's also linked to an increased risk of heart problems, which many older adults are already managing. The tough part is, tilefish isn't always clearly labeled. You might find it in seafood stews, restaurant dishes, or mislabeled in markets. And because it's not a mainstream name, most people don't even know they've eaten it. So here's a simple rule. If you see a generic label or fish from the Gulf of Mexico, ask what kind it is. If it's tilefish, pass. The good news? There are safer, delicious alternatives that are much easier on your brain and heart. Instead of tilefish, reach for cod or haddock. They're low in mercury, high in protein, and gentle on the digestive system. Plus, they're versatile. You can bake, broil, or toss them in a soup. These kinds of swaps may seem small, but over time, they make a real difference in protecting your clarity, stability, and heart health. Now be honest, have you ever eaten tilefish and not even realized it? Maybe at a restaurant or in a pre-packaged meal. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your experience. And speaking of sneaky fish, the next one is often confused with the healthy choice, but it may be doing more harm than good. Number 2, king mackerel. Now here's one that's often mistaken for a healthy option. King mackerel. It sounds regal, nutritious, and rich in omega-3s, but don't let the name fool you. Yes, mackerel can be good for you, but not this kind. King mackerel is one of the most mercury-loaded fish you can eat, and that's a big deal for anyone over 60. Here's why it matters. As we age, our bodies become more vulnerable to heavy metal buildup. Mercury, in particular, doesn't just go away. It accumulates in the body over time. And in seniors, the effects can be more severe and harder to reverse. High mercury exposure has been linked to neurological decline, things like memory loss, confusion, slower thinking, and even mood changes. It's also a risk factor for cardiovascular disease, which many older adults are already at risk for. And here's the tricky part. King mackerel is still sold in stores and served in restaurants, often just labeled mackerel. That one word can refer to very different fish, and not all of them are safe. So what can you do? First, if it's labeled king mackerel, skip it. It's not worth the risk. Second, know the difference. There are safer mackerel, varieties that are actually good for you. Look for Atlantic mackerel, also called Boston mackerel. It's smaller, lower on the food chain, and carries much less mercury. Or go with sardines, a true superfood. They're rich in omega-3s, calcium, and vitamin D. And because they're tiny and short-lived, they don't have time to build up harmful toxins. Sardines might not be everyone's favorite, but if you're dealing with joint pain, brain fog, or cholesterol concerns, they're worth giving another shot. Add a few to a salad, or mash them with avocado and lemon for a simple spread. Have you ever assumed all mackerel were the same? Or been surprised by the different types? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing your food discoveries and questions. Coming up next, a fish that looks elegant on a dinner plate, but carries a risk that's hard to see until it's too late. Number 3. Swordfish. It's sleek, it's elegant, and it looks impressive on a dinner plate. Swordfish is often seen as a high-end choice for seafood lovers. But here's the truth. You don't often hear swordfish is one of the worst choices you can make after 60. Why? Because swordfish is a large, predatory fish, and that makes it a mercury magnet. The bigger and older the fish, the more mercury it collects over time. And swordfish? It sits near the top of the ocean food chain, feeding on smaller fish that have already absorbed mercury themselves. It's like a toxic snowball effect. Asterisk. For seniors, this is a serious concern. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at detoxifying heavy metals. And mercury doesn't just pass through, it stores in tissues, including the brain. Regular swordfish consumption has been linked to cognitive decline, including memory issues, confusion, and even increased risk of dementia in older adults. And unfortunately, the effects aren't always immediate. They build slowly, silently. So if swordfish is something you've been enjoying for years, it might be time to rethink it. The good news? You've got delicious and nutritious alternatives. Instead of swordfish, try wild-caught salmon. It's loaded with brain-protecting omega-3s and very low in mercury. Or opt for rainbow trout, which is mild in flavor, easy to cook, and gentle on the digestive system. These swaps aren't just safer. They may actually help improve cognitive health and reduce inflammation over time. It's about making smart, gradual changes that support your brain, your heart, and your future. Did you know swordfish was this risky? Were you as surprised as I was when I first learned this? Let's talk in the comments. I'd love to hear what you've been choosing at the seafood counter. Up next is a fish many people consider a health food, but depending on how it's raised, it could be feeding your inflammation instead of fighting it. Number 4. Farmed salmon, certain types. When it comes to salmon, you've probably heard it's one of the healthiest fish you can eat, packed with omega-3s that are great for your heart and brain. But not all salmon is created equal. In fact, some types of farmed salmon, especially those raised in Chile, could be doing you more harm than good. Why? Well, some farmed salmon are raised with antibiotics and chemical additives to prevent disease in crowded fish farms. While this keeps them alive in the short term, these chemicals can end up in your food, affecting your health long term. On top of that, farm-raised salmon often has more omega-6 fats than omega-3s. Omega-6 aren't necessarily bad, but an excess of them can actually cause inflammation in your body, which is bad news if you're dealing with arthritis, joint pain, or heart disease. For older adults, chronic inflammation is a major risk factor for things like heart disease, diabetes, and arthritis. The last thing you want is to unknowingly make it worse by eating fish that's supposed to be healthy. So how can you enjoy salmon without the risks? It's simple. Look for wild-caught, or Alaskan on the label. Wild-caught salmon are fed a natural diet and aren't pumped full of antibiotics or chemicals. Plus, they have a better balance of omega-3s, which help reduce inflammation rather than add to it. So next time you're at the store or ordering at a restaurant, just take a second to check the label. It's a small step that can make a big difference in how you feel, especially if you're managing joint pain or heart health concerns. Number 5. Imported catfish. Next up is another fish that might be in your freezer right now: imported catfish. It's cheap, easy to find, and often marketed as a budget-friendly seafood option. But the problem with imported catfish is that it's not always as healthy as it seems. Here's why. A lot of imported catfish come from countries with lower safety standards than the US, which means they may be raised in unsanitary conditions and treated with antibiotics or chemicals that aren't approved here. The use of antibiotics in fish farming can lead to antibiotic resistance, weakening your immune system over time. This means your body may not respond as effectively to infections or illnesses when you need it the most. On top of that, the chemicals and antibiotics in imported catfish can increase inflammation in your body. This is particularly concerning for seniors dealing with chronic issues like arthritis, joint pain, or heart disease. Inflammation just makes everything worse. If you're already struggling with inflammation, eating foods that contribute to it is the last thing you want to do. And unfortunately, imported catfish is a big offender. So what should you eat instead? Opt for US farmed catfish, which is raised under stricter safety regulations. It's still an affordable choice, but it's grown in cleaner conditions with fewer chemicals. Alternatively, cod is another great option. It's mild in flavor, lower in fat, and can be cooked in so many delicious ways. Cod is perfect for everything from baking to frying to making fish tacos. Making simple switches like these, US farmed catfish or cod, helps reduce your risk of consuming harmful antibiotics or chemicals and gives your body the fuel it needs to thrive. Have you ever bought imported catfish without thinking twice about where it's from? What's your go-to alternative? Let me know in the comments. But now, let's talk about the sneakiest fish of them all. It's hiding in plain sight, and it's in almost every senior's fridge. Number 6. Canned tuna, especially albacore. And now for the fish that's hiding in plain sight: canned tuna. It's a pantry staple for so many of us. Convenient, affordable, and easy to prepare. But if you're eating albacore tuna on a regular basis, you might be unknowingly adding a lot of mercury to your diet. Here's the problem: albacore tuna, the white tuna you often see in cans, has higher mercury levels than you might think. And because it's so commonly eaten, many people don't realize the toll it can take on their health, especially over time. For seniors, the effects of mercury exposure can be quiet but serious. It doesn't just stay in your body, it accumulates, affecting your brain function and cardiovascular health. Regular consumption of high-mercury tuna can lead to memory issues, difficulty concentrating, and even increase the risk of heart disease. Now, before you go tossing out all your tuna, I'm not saying you can never eat it again, but it's important to limit your intake, especially if you're eating albacore tuna regularly. The key is moderation. Limit yourself to 1 serving of canned albacore tuna per week. Alternatively, opt for light tuna or skipjack tuna. These types of tuna have lower mercury levels and still pack the omega-3s and protein benefits that make tuna a great choice. When you're at the store, just check the label. Light tuna and skipjack are often cheaper and easier on your body than the more expensive albacore, and you can still enjoy a delicious tuna salad or sandwich. The bottom line: enjoy tuna, but make smart choices to keep your mercury levels low. If you're worried about mercury buildup, just take a few simple steps to protect your brain, heart, and joints. Is canned tuna still part of your weekly meals? I know it's a popular go-to for many, so let's talk about it in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these alternatives. I hope this video helped clear up some confusion about these common fish and how making small changes to your diet can have a big impact on your health as you age. If you found this helpful, give us a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe for more life-changing tips here at Thrive Senior Advice.